Hey everyone, Mo here, and before the video begins, I just want to let you guys know that my schedule has opened up for me to do coaching again. So if you're interested in private one-on-one coaching for me to help you, whether you're a newer player and you want to excel at the game very quickly and learn the fundamentals without developing any bad habits early, or if you're an experienced player who's already maybe platinum or diamond in your top 1%, but you need some help filling in the gap to get you to that 0.01%, to make you just some of the best, then hit me up on Discord and I can get you in some private one-on-one coaching lessons to help you polish up any skills you want to refine and help you learn all of the secrets to becoming a top player. That's it. I hope you enjoy the video. Hey everybody, Mo here, and it's time again for your Meta Monday review for the week for Legends of Runeterra. So this is every single Monday. I go over last week's meta, or this week's meta, or the current meta, and then I'm going to be showing you like what decks people have been playing, tell you what decks you to look out for on ladder, and then what decks probably beat the decks on ladder. So we're about to get into that, but before we do, I want to remind you guys that we're really close to hitting 3,000 subscriber milestone. So if you guys can help me out so much with the YouTube algorithm and help me out by reaching that goal, just click the subscribe button, leave a comment, let me know below what more videos you want to see in the future. And that's it for the intro. Let's get right into the meta report. So we're going to start off by just look at the meta here, see what decks are going to be played. We can compare it to last week's meta, and then we can compare it to the overall region popularity. So let's look at top. We're going to go top down. The most played meta deck is going to be Plunder, then Lulu Zed, Azir Aurelia, Lurk, Sivir Akshan Ionia, Pirate Aggro, TF Swain, Draven Ezreal, and then Sivir Akshan Demacia. So if you want to compare this side by side to the other... Oh, oops. All right, come here. If you compare this side by side by last week's, you see at the top here is still Plunder, 8%, 7%. So it went up by one total percentile. More people are playing. It looks like it went up by about 4,000 matches or so. And then if you look, the roles here kind of reversed on Lulu Zed versus Azir Aurelia. They're really close. Azir Aurelia was up by about 1,500 matches, but now Lulu Zed is winning by over 6,000 matches played. So there's a little bit over 5,000 more people playing the Lulu Zed elusive deck compared to the Azir Aurelia deck from last week. Lurk has been the same. Looks like it dropped about 2,000 players, but it's still at the same 5% play rate. And then in the 4% play rate, we actually have Sivir Ionia, which is going to be Sivir Akshan, Sivir Zed, is actually going up to the 4% spot, taking over Shin midrange. If you notice, Shin midrange kind of just dropped off of this list. And this bottom half is kind of where things start to get a little bit different. So Shin midrange kind of dropped off. Pirate Aggro is still here. It got moved up a little bit. So more people are playing Aggro. About 400 more people are playing Pirate Burn than they were last week. And then we have TF Swain and Draven Ezreal, which are about the same. And if I had to guess on why these two decks kind of spiked, as you see, there's about 3,000 more people playing Draven Ezreal than last week, and then obviously a lot more people playing TF Swain than last week. I would have to say that it was because last week everyone was prepping for seasonal. The seasonal tournament actually happened this last weekend, 2 days ago, and I assume this is a lot of people preparing TF Swain and trying to learn the deck and grind out matchups for it to get ready for TF Swain in seasonal. TF Swain, Draven Ezreal, Anivia was one of the most common lineups that I saw, as well as just like Plunder, TF Swain, Draven Ezreal. Playing TF Swain and Draven Ezreal in the same lineup gave you a bunch of redundancy, which is really good, and something you want to look for a seasonal lineup is something that has the same matchup tables, or two decks that have the same matchup tables, preferably have three decks that have the same matchup tables, and that way they work really well together and synergize well. So if I had to guess, that's why TF Swain kind of spiked. I would be very surprised if TF Swain stayed on top here. I expect it to go down. Probably won't be on this meta review next week, so I wouldn't really worry too much about that. Same with Draven Ezreal. It got a little bit more popular for the reason of I'm assuming people were practicing it for seasonals, as well as Draven Ezreal is just not bad. It beats like Lurk. It's okay into Sivir Ionia. It's really good into the elusive decks, as well as TF Swain. That could also be why it popped up, is because TF Swain is really good into this Zed Lulu elusive deck. So I could see it being played to try and counteract this movement of the elusive deck being played by a whole, 5,000 more people than last week. And at the very bottom here, we see Sivir Akshan Demacia kind of sneaking in to the top 9. Sivir Akshan Demacia is actually believed by a lot of others to be better than the Ionia version, just because it beats the Ionia version in a 1v1, and it just gives you more combat tricks, so it's better into mid-range piles. Like, you actually have a lot more outplay ability with the Sivir Akshan Demacia, and you have a lot more skill expression, and you can show off a little bit more potential to just win matchups that you shouldn't be winning. Gives you more 50-50 matchups. So compared to the Ionia version, where the Ionia version, you very much are just going, I'm going to get my ship damage in, and I'm just going to kill you with this double strike combination. Sivir Akshan is not this super narrow, I'm killing you with double strike, as much as it is like, I'm just going to be a mid-range deck with a bunch of rallies and a bunch of combat tricks and still abuse this vulnerable quick attack spell shield type combination. So Sivir Akshan is not really killing you in one attack as much as it is rallying and killing you maybe in 1 or 2 turns just with multiple big attacks, whereas the Ionia version is very much, I am going all in on killing you with these elusive or this cheesy double strike overwhelm style game plan. So if you see, twice Sivir Akshan sees up here. So if I had to guess, something you notice is discard aggro kind of fell off. I actually played discard aggro in seasonals and did really well with it. I'm not sure why it fell off. I think people just got too excited with playing TF Swain, and TF Swain is really, really good against pirate aggro. And that could be why, because more decks that start beating aggro are up on this list. Like, for instance, you beat Plunder most of the time, but sometimes Plunder can, especially if they're playing like Ice Shards, can beat aggro really well. Sometimes you just get a good Make It Rain, and Plunder can beat any 1 HP aggro style deck. Lulu Zed can always outrace you. Azirelli you're usually beating, you're beating this. If you get like a good Spirit's Refuge, you're winning with Sivir Ionia. The TF Swain, Ezreal, Draven matchups are really, really bad. So I think, and Anivia is being super popped up, which is something I'm about to talk about here in a second, is Anivia also beats Draven, Ezreal, and a lot of the aggro decks really, really well. So that brings me to my next point, which is decks to be on the lookout for, like sleeper decks that are OP. Anivia. I said this last week. I said there's going to be some type of Freljord, Shadow Isle deck on the rise. I'm going to post a picture here on the screen of what a good Anivia deck is that I would play, and I will paste a deck code in the description below. I think Anivia is nuts right now. It beats, if you look at this list, it beats Plunder, Lulu Zed, Lurk, it loses to Sivir Ionia, beats Pirates, beats TF Swain, beats Ezreal Draven, beats Sivir Akshan. Like, out of this entire top 9, it loses to like 2 of these decks, which is absolutely nuts. And it beats and gatekeeps the other decks that were from last week that were on here, like the Shin Jarvan deck. You're usually pretty good into. You're good into discard aggro as well. So out of both of these lineups from the last 2 weeks, Anivia is really good. Anivia popped off in seasonals. I might be even bringing Anivia to seasonal top 32 this upcoming weekend, depending on what my bracket side looks like in the meta, see if it shifts at all, any type of secret decks like that. But for the most part, Anivia is super cracked in tournament lineups for the reason of it beats all of the Ezreal, Draven, and TF Swain and aggro decks, and that alone, and the Plunder, and that alone is like 70+% of the entire tournament meta right now. So super sleeper deck that I highly recommend. I recommended it going into seasonals this last weekend, and some people took it up, and you know, it did really, really well. Any type of lineup that's like Ez Draven, Anivia, X is really, really good into just about everything. And it's good into aggro, good into mid-range, and it even beats the like Ezreal and TF Swain matchups. You just have to do a little bit of mirror matching there with Ezreal Draven, which you can definitely make your deck teched for. So that is something that I said should be on the rise. It popped off on seasonal, so I was right there. It's still not being played well, so maybe I need to make a deck guide and showing you guys like how to play Anivia and all the secrets to playing Anivia, stuff like that. If you're interested in that, let me know in the comments below, and I might just make an Anivia deck guide this week. But I think Anivia should be on the rise for play rate this upcoming week, the last week to try and pump out if you're trying to hit a specific rank before rank reset. Rank reset's on the 25th. So if you are looking to try and maybe squeeze into Platinum, Diamond, Master, something like that, I highly recommend Anivia. It's really, really good. So that's it for the meta overview. So now we're just going to look at the region popularity. So this is the region popularity for the last week. Targon, all-time low at 4%, and almost all of this 4% is Lee Sin. Targon and Shadow Isles are the lowest I think they've ever been. Targon is just a really, really bad region outside of exactly Lee Sin. Exactly like Zoe, Vi, like Ruben Pile. It's not very good either. Shadow Isles, same thing. Almost every Shadow Isles deck got nerfed. However, Viego is kind of popping off lately. Viego Ionia has done really well. One of the 9-0 lineups from North America played Viego Ionia. It's the one I actually lost to in round 9. Kevor. I personally don't think the deck is that good. Even though I lost to it in round 9, it was very, very small percentile on why I lost. I kind of... he drew just about every card he needed to plus some, and the reason I don't think it's good is because even after he drew really, really, really well, I still actually had a chance to beat him. So that tells you that like the deck is just not that good.
I personally am not a fan. I don't really know what it beats. It just seems like a super slow mid-range deck that loses to all of the control decks and still loses to the mid-range decks. You just get out-tempoed early on, and it's really hard for you to come back from that. But I predict that's probably what most of the Shadow Isle is right now, is just going to be Anivia and some type of Viego Ionia decks. And then so those are the two lowest played. Let's go to the big boys up top, which are going to be the Shurima and Ionia. I mean, pink-yellow region is pretty good. Ionia's extremely good region right now with Lee Sin, Sivir Akshan. I guess that's about it. I don't know. All the elusive decks. Yeah, like Ionia is being super played. It has like at least three good tier 1 decks. Karma Ezreal also. So it has at least 3 good tier 1 decks and at least 5 if you want to count tier 2 up. And Stream is the same way. It has at least 3 good tier 1 decks right now with Azir, Aurelia, Sivir Akshan, Demacia, and Sivir Akshan, Ionia. So 3 really good tier 1 decks, and go all the way up to, I think, like 5 or 6 good tier 2 decks if you want to count like Viego, Shurima, Overwhelm, stuff like that. So not much has really changed as far as region popularity from the last week. PNZ still not super played. It's basically just Draven, Ezreal, and discard. Demacia is still just Shin Jarvan mostly. Bilgewater has gone up a bit, and that's because people started playing TF Swain again. So because people started playing TF Swain, the Bilgewater kind of spiked here a little bit, went up by about 3%, which is, you know, pretty big in the grand scheme of things. So Freljord Noxus is still not really super played. Noxus is basically just like Ezreal, Draven, and maybe some discard players. But for the most part, it's just the meta right now is just dominated by Shurima and Ionia decks. So that's going to be it for this week. The sleeper decks to look out for, like I said, that you guys should be playing is going to be Anivia, and I'll have a deck code of that in the description below. If you want to keep seeing these meta reports, Meta Mondays every week, let me know by leaving a like, and don't forget to subscribe so we can hit 3,000 milestone for subscribers. Make sure to go follow me on Twitch, because that's where I stream just about every day, twitch.tv/emotional, links in the description, as well as join the Discord so you don't miss notification on anything, and that link will also be in the description. That's it for this week's meta review. I'll see you guys in the next episode.